Okay, we're on. This is Jordan Luke Collier for Ars Amorata with Hans Comyn. And we want to make a little video today about adventure. We talk about men and women a lot, and there is this third part of the Ars Amorata message, which is the lifelong quest for adventure. And very specifically, there is one city in the world that we both visited at different times and had a bit of an adventure in, and Hans is going to tell us what happened to him. So we met each other for the first time in Rio de Janeiro, and Hans came and welcomed me and the rest of the students for this weekend intensive. And I think the first thing and the only thing that you were talking to us about was what happened to you in Medellin. So if you don't know, this is the city where Pablo Escobar was based.
Yes.
That's what it's famous for. It's drug cartels in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. And it's very modern, very rich, new money. And the women there are unbelievable.
Gorgeous.
Like, it's my personal Bucharest.
I'll say this: there are two places in the world where I was with Zan and we had to sit down and cried about the beauty of women, and one of them was Medellin. It's to me it's by far my favorite city in Latin America. I haven't seen many cities, but I've seen a couple like Rio, and I was completely shocked by the sheer beauty of the city, because it's a eternal springtime. And so you smell the flowers, you smell the trees, and then there are the women. And when Medellin, this is a fact, maybe you don't like this, but Medellin is the #1 city in the world for ass and breast implants. Yeah. And you may be for or against that, but it does show the obsession that the people have with presenting themselves. And the women are not only gorgeous, but they present themselves in such a way, it is shocking. It really humbles you, because not only are they physically incredibly beautiful, like shockingly so, but they have also a certain grace about them. They have a feminine grace that comes, and I try to analyze it, but that come from a kind of that past that you speak about, the Pablo Escobar. Because when you talk about people about Medellin, they think about cocaine and drug cartels, and so there's kind of like a backlash in the sense that people are afraid to go, but the people that are from there are really keen on presenting how great their country is. Yeah. And I found the women so gracious, so accommodating, that I could not believe it. It was really one of the first times that I would go on coffee dates with women via couchsurfing to get to know the city, and I was shocked by how beautiful the women were and how keen they were on going on coffee dates with me and explaining how beautiful their city was. And so I loved Medellin and Parqueyeras and everything that it stood for. And if it hadn't been for what happened there to me, I would have stayed much longer there.
Yeah. I first visited Colombia in 2006, and it was kind of like, it was just coming out of that time where it was too dangerous to visit, and it was just at the beginning of the time where there were a lot of gringos, a lot of foreigners coming through, and there's still not many, but there were people that would say, you know, thank you for believing in Colombia. Thank you for visiting our country. We want to show you everything that we know. We're going to share our secrets. And it's true about the women, you know, they were so caring and gracious and beautiful in the things that they said to me. And at 23, being from England, I'd never heard that kind of care and love before. And it's heart-opening. It really was.
Sí, señor. Sí, señor.
I came home a different man, and it was easy to love and be gentle and charming and caring after being with women like that. Changed. So there's a couple of stories that I would love you to share with the guys, and the first one is you had a special type of tour, right?
Yes. It was shocking. I met a girl whose uncle used to be the driver of Pablo Escobar, and they were starting. It was the first time they were going to do a tour, and so they talked to me and some other people and say, we're going to try to do this tour, and he's the driver, he knows the places. We're going to go to the grave, and and so there's still a little bit of like there's people who have shame about it because he did lots of criminal things. He was one of the richest criminals. He was the most successful criminal of all time, which also means that he was cruel and so. But apart from that, it was really shocking that this became possible. And he drove us around, and we went to the cemetery, went to the place where he got killed. He told us all these stories about him having villages that looked like villages, but they were really there to hide the landing strip. And the village would go apart when he would come in with planes of cocaine or leave with planes to Miami and we saw all these things. We saw the house that had been protected, that had been bombed years ago, and it was empty. Nobody could go in. It was guarded 24/7. But because this guy came and said, and we could go in, and it was completely eerie. It was incredible. We also met the brother of Pablo Escobar, who was the accountant, and he was like, he was telling stories. I'm Belgian, and he's a cyclist, and he talked about Eddy Merckx, but the Belgian cyclist. It was weird. And he said, yeah, a week ago, two guys came in here. They tried to abduct me, but we shot him. And we're like, yeah, whatever, man. He's just telling stories. We go home and check it in Google. It was 100% right. Not only did they shot him, they killed him in the house. They killed him in the house right there.
1 week before you were that.
Yeah, and he was showing the bullet. Yeah. I have videos of it. It was very strange, and I'm convinced that in 10 years' time, this trip is going to be so popular. It's going to be like a tourist attraction, because this country has so much to offer that something like this, like Pablo Escobar being the most successful criminal of all time, it speaks to the imagination, because you could agree and disagree, but there's things that are interesting about it. It's interesting.
Yeah, man. There's 100 Hollywood films that we've grown up with, Scarface, all this stuff. Imagining what is it like to live at those heights, the drugs and the women and the money and the VIP life.
Man, I say that driver, the way you could see what he has gone through, you could see the experiences he had, and just the way he moved, the way he was talking to women. He had been there, and he had the success with women, and you could see it in his body. He was totally a charmer, and he couldn't walk straight anymore. But the way he was looking at women, like, hey, like totally, and because he had seen it, he had seen all the abundance of women throwing themselves at him, and he was telling those stories. It was incredible, man, incredible.
So you're in Medellin, right? Like, the women are so beautiful, it's shocking, and you cry. It's the city of eternal spring. It's modern. It's beautiful. You're having a lot of fun. Why didn't you stay longer?
I've been hiding the story since 2010.
How long were you in the city, by the way?
A little 6 weeks or something. I don't know exactly anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, then I don't know if people will think because of the story that it's dangerous, but I'll tell you this. All those weeks I never felt, I felt completely safe. It is South America, and South America is different in the sense that you have to be aware that it's not like Montreal, or it's not like Bucharest, where you're safe all the time 100%, but it's a bit like South America, like Rio, where it's a little bit more dangerous. But the fact, as soon as you're aware, you're safe. If you know that it's not Montreal, then you're okay.
There's a specific taxi system that you can take. There are specific zones that you don't go to. Apart from that, you can spend months and years in a place like Medellin, in Colombia. And
I never felt, and the guys from where we were staying said too, I say to people, don't worry, girls, you can walk outside alone, no problem. And it's true, it's not a problem. There's actually police everywhere that they're really keen on keeping it safe. And I had no stories except then something happened to me, which, okay, I'll tell. So. I was with a girl, and she did all the seducing. She was like, oh, come with me, and we were going out and had drinks. She said, oh, bring me to a taxi, and then with the taxi, oh, bring me home. And I was holding back. It was not like chasing anything, but I spent the night with her, and and she had a roommate there too. And everything was great, and I kissed her goodbye in the morning, and we had fun, and it was fantastic. And 4 days later, I tried to contact her. And she didn't reply, and I thought it was strange because it was a great night. And 4 days later, police came to where I was staying, and I still remember there were like 7 police guys, and they came in, and it was very overwhelming. and they were they had a message for me, and they said it very strong. They said, "Are you Hans Comyn?" And I said, "Yes." "Were you with?" And they said, "The girl." And I said, "Yes." And they said, "You're in big trouble. you pissed off the wrong people." And there was nothing I could say, or like in my defense or whatever. But they understood that too, and they said, we advise you to leave the country. And I was shocked a bit, and I said, "Okay, I'll go in the morning." And they said, "Go tonight. Tonight we can secure your safety. Tomorrow we're not sure." And I was like, "Okay." This is when traveling carry-on only comes in handy. I still remember going up where we were staying, and I was staying with Zan. And I came in the room where Zan was, and I said to Zan, "The police is here. We gotta go." And I still remember Zan thinking that the police was chasing us, and he's like instantly getting up. He's heading for the window, like really in a movie. And I said, no. Police is going to escort us. They're going to escort us to the airport, but we have to go. But he was like, ah. And we packed. I left a couple of things there. We packed, and we got into with the police, and we had police in front, and we had police in back, and they escorted us to the airport, which was like 25 minutes driving. And it was very strange to me. And even during that time, I was afraid that they had bad intentions with me, because I didn't really get it, right? I was never to talk to her again. I never understood what really happened. To this day, I don't know what happened. But they escorted us to the airport. As I went through the customs, they took a picture. They took a picture of us going through customs. And I was scared the whole time. This was like very, very intense. And then we took the first plane out, which was to Panama.
Yeah.
And we stayed in Panama for a couple of months. And so the moment I landed in Panama, we drank a couple of whiskeys to celebrate. I don't know if this is
yeah, you never went back, and you never heard about it again, and you never figured out what happened.
No. And you know how I love Colombia so much that I'm really tempted to go back. Despite that, I want to go back. Because it's so beautiful. And I say this story now, I don't want people to think, oh, well, maybe you shouldn't go on an adventure. And maybe it will be a different kind of adventure. But anyway, you asked me, so I tell you.
Yeah. I just want to say why we're talking about Colombia today. And can you just say a little bit about the ambassadors? Like, who are the ambassadors, and what are they doing? And why have we got them?
Well, the ambassadors are, as you know, we have different levels of the Amorati. We have the Amorati who have committed to a certain way of living, a certain way of being with women. There are 3 commitments. They commit to being a man and proclaim their love for women. They commit to being a leader on this earth, and they commit to live their life in accordance with the principles of the Ars Amorata, however they manifest that. So it's a commitment. You don't have to be good at anything. It's not that you're more whatever. You just commit to something. What the ambassadors do is a step further, is that they have committed to not only live that way, but also to spread the message. They have made a commitment. They say, we think this message is so important, it's beyond whatever Hans and Zan are doing, which is very much true. And we're gonna bring this message to the world in our own words, in the way we articulate, through our paintings, through our discussions, through our adventures that we're going to organize in Colombia, all of that, because there's a core to the Ars Amorata, the premises of love and seduction that is beyond anything that we're trying to articulate, and that it has struck a chord with so many people that they say, I want to spread it, because it's a message worth spreading. And I think those are the ambassadors, and they're guys that we, Zan and I, trust with our eyes closed, and we say, you do whatever you do because you understand the principles enough that whatever you do will be an embodiment of the message, and whatever you do to express it will be a good thing. So we trust those people, and it's you, and it's Nicholas, and it's Knut, and it's who am I missing? It's Corey. It's you.
Yeah, I also with Adam. I will say a little bit more about some of these guys in a minute. What we're going to actually be doing in Medellin is 6 of us at least are going to be going there and camping out for about 3 weeks, and we are going to be creating stuff. We're going to be creating videos, podcasts, content, next generation stuff for the Ars Amorata. So for years, Hans and Zan have kept the Ars Amorata very close to themselves, and now we're going to be putting out some more great things out there with our own personal understandings and insights and learnings about it. So yeah, you're going to be seeing a lot of stuff. We're going to be making it in Medellin. And since we're there for 3 or 4 weeks, we're also going to open ourselves up for some coaching. And we're going to do a couple of events in Spanish. For the first time in the Ars Amorata, we're going to do the weekend intensive in Espanol. And we're going to do some stuff in English as well. Before we wrap up, do you want to say something about Adam and Knut and Nico and Augusto? And first,
yeah, I want to say, but in a more general way, if for anyone watching that the live experience is the only thing that really matters. The words are there, but the words are there. They're more like inspirations for you to get inspired and seek beauty, but also to meet Amorati, to meet the ambassadors, to meet us, because it's really about an energy exchange. And it is, if you want to pay for something, pay for a live event, because it will change your life. I know that during the weekend intensive, we've changed lives all this time. I had a coaching last weekend, and I changed the guy's life. But it doesn't scale up. Zan and I cannot do it any longer. We can do the weekend intensive, but it doesn't scale up. And I realized also that other people like you, Jordan, you're better at coaching than I am. So you should do it, because it's really your gift, and it's what you can bring to the world. And so I can only urge people that if they can make the time, then and summon the money and go there and make it happen, because you will never ever regret it. It will be the best experience you can imagine, and you have to do it if you really want to understand what the Ars Amorata is all about. Yeah. And I met each one of the guys, and so that's why I say Zan and I, the Ars Amorata is it's our baby, right? It's really our baby, and so for us to say these guys we trust. They went through all the experiences, they went through all the programs, they understand it good enough, and they have the right spirit. So we say these guys we trust, whatever they want to do. So you're in good hands.
Cool. Any final thoughts?
No, I wish maybe I come also under a different name or something.
Put a wig on, man. You know, like one of these blonde mullet style 80s wigs that they had.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I can't wait to go back. Medellin.
Colombia.
Okay, thank you, Hans. Thanks, guys. There's gonna be more from us soon.
See you later. Bye-bye. Thank you, Jordan.